You always hear crazy stories on the news about people committing crimes and doing crazy things for money. Have you ever wondered how far someone would go for money, how long someone could keep up a lie, or even how long someone could deceive you? Good evening, class. My name is Carly Lubon. The purpose of this speech is to inform you and to provide you with entertainment on how one 17-year-old boy convinced an entire community and everyone around him that he was a doctor. This speech comes from weeks of online research as well as following several different news stations as they continue to update the story. And I would like to speak about Malachi Love Robinson, also known as Dr. Love. I would like to show you a PowerPoint and explain who he was and the scheme he almost pulled off. Firstly, I want to talk about who Malachi Love Robinson is. To begin, Malachi Love Robinson was born in May 1997 and at the beginning of his scheme was a 17-year-old Florida teenager. His story begins in 2015 at a hospital in Palm Beach, Florida, and this hospital would change his life forever. One morning, Malachi casually walks into the St. Mary's Medical Center and he finds a white embroidered St. Mary's lab coat. After he puts on the coat, he begins to walk around and pretends to be an intern student doctor. As he walks around the hospital in his lab coat, he begins getting asked who he is and what he is doing there. According to Sarah Benson in the article Dr. Love Robinson published on September 25th, 2019, she states that whenever Malachi is questioned, he just says he's a student doctor and is shadowing real doctors. As Malachi's day continues on, he goes around to patients' rooms and begins to actually shadow doctors. When people begin to notice Malachi, they once again start asking more questions, and he always has a convincing answer to give them. He's very intelligent and begins to say things, "I've been a doctor for years." He is so smart and so ensuring, no one questions him again for an entire month. Malachi begins to become even bolder and decides to stand in on a pregnant woman's consultation. The doctor in the consultation room questions Malachi. This is when police are finally called. When the police arrive, they search Malachi's car and find a second lab coat with Dr. Robinson embroidered on one of the sides. It is at this point Malachi is arrested, but no formal charges are given to him. Even though he was stopped, this did not stop him for good. He would soon get tired of his average teenage life and his scheme would continue, but this time on a much larger and bolder scale. By October 2015, Malachi is now a massage therapist at a rehab center. Malachi then gets caught again, but this time he received a cease and desist order from the state of Florida's Department of Health, which means he is not allowed to act as any sort of medical personnel. In December of 2015, 86-year-old Anita Morrison is suffering from terrible stomach pains. She meets with several different stomach specialists and is not receiving the help she wishes to get. She is desperate for answers. This is when Anita comes across Malachi's website, and she begins to see him in December 2015. Malachi is now going by Dr. Love and is the founder of the New Birth New Life Medical Center. Anita requests for Dr. Love to come and see her at her home. The article titled Malachi Love Robinson, 5 Fast Facts You Need to Know, written by Tom Clearly, published on June 14, 2018, states that Malachi visits Anita in her home and diagnoses her with arthritis and tells Anita he can cure her stomach pains with vitamins. At this point, it's when he goes to the store and purchases melatonin and then sells the vitamins to her. Visits Anita 4 more times, but her pain never seems to go away. Eventually, one day, she calls Malachi and says she's in terrible pain. Once Malachi arrives, he tells her that he won't be able to help her and that she's going to need to go to the hospital. While Anita's on the way to the hospital, Malachi is in her home by himself. It is at this point where Malachi forges a $500 check as well as another $12,000 check. A few weeks later, Anita realizes that she has money missing from her bank account. It's at this point where Anita contacts the police and now Malachi is under investigation. In total, Malachi stole over $36,000 from her. Now you know who Malachi is and what he did. It's time to see how his scheme comes to an end. The end result is now January 2016, and Malachi has no idea the authorities are onto his scheme. While the investigation is going on, Malachi is about to give his grand opening party for his New Birth New Life Medical Center. Outside the door of his medical center, there is a sign that reads Dr. Malachi Love Robinson, MD. Malachi is listed as a physician and the owner of the facility. Melissa Chan states in an article, Florida teen accused of posing as a doctor fooled his family, published on February 18, 2016, that one day a reporter named Terry Parker received a call from a concerned citizen asking her to look into the New Birth New Life Medical Center. She goes into the practice and begins to question Malachi and he struggles to answer her questions. He tells her to come back the next day. The following day, when Terry Parker comes back, Malachi has his answers practiced and gives her a tour of his facility. As this interview is going on, the police have been putting together an undercover sting to bust Malachi and his medical center. Once the clinic is officially open, an undercover police officer comes in and makes an appointment. Malachi then examines the undercover officer and is immediately arrested. Terry Parker is there at the medical facility when he is getting arrested, and there is actually news footage of him getting arrested. When he does get arrested, he is released on a $26,000 bail. He is sentenced to 3.5 years in prison and is sentenced to pay $80,000 back to the people he scammed. Tonight I have informed you, entertained you on one of the most outrageous schemes Malachi Love Robinson almost pulled off. Lastly, I would like to leave you with this quote said by Fedoras. Things are not always what they seem. The first appearance deceives many. The intelligence of a few perceives what has been carefully hidden. Thank you.